Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the collective. We have an interesting show today. It's
Oh,
late
it's interesting.
because it's late because I just came back from a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I figured I got some film, so
Oh,
we can actually dissect it in the moment and watch how
well, we'll
badly
enjoy it. I don't know about dissecting it, but it'll be fun to watch.
it will be fun to watch. And I lost first round.
But did you?
No, I did not
No. Okay,
because
so let's get
I
that out of the way.
I took something from it. I really
There
did.
we go. So let's start right off the bat with all negative Nelly.
Good point. Yes, let me rephrase that then. I did not move forward in the tournament. Let's put it that way.
Yes, you did.
I personally gained quite a few lessons.
No doubt. So when you were saying didn'ts, what is the didn't that you didn't do?
Well, I did not submit my opponent or win by points, and therefore did not carry on to the next round.
Yeah, I suppose. The rules
Technically
set. Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. All right.
But
There we go.
yeah, that's all. That was a
That's the only
technicality.
didn't.
Yeah, that was the only one. What's up, Satch? He's
Hey, pal.
watching. Excellent.
Hey, just a point to note that Satch, and not just Satch, but there were several people who were hitting me up throughout the day. Hey, is the collective going to do a daily live today? What's going on? So Chance Burles, way to screw things up.
How dare I?
How dare you? How dare you keep people waiting?
Right? Hey, Daniel.
But secondly, it's really nice to know that people are looking forward to you coming back from your tourney and seeing what's going on, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Chance Burles, man of the day, man of the hour,
employee of the day. Yes, I
today,
did
though.
put a post out though yesterday saying that there was going to be a delay in
It's
this
true.
one.
And I even added supporting part with the C6 on the left flank. I mean,
I saw it.
Yeah, I know. Still, people were wondering, pal, when's it happening? Well, it's happening.
He's getting his work done. Yeah, I definitely was getting my work done.
No doubt.
Then let's dive right into it. Let's get the video up here and we can.
Oh yeah, cool.
We can watch it. So here we go. I am in the black gi on the left.
Yes, you are probably the taller of the two.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. So I went for the collar drag.
You went for the collar drag within 10 seconds. Nicely done. And then you corrected off it. Well done.
Yeah. And then I was. This is where it started to not work out for me. Well,
we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we should just let us.
Yeah, why not? Let everyone enjoy.
This is my first time seeing it from this angle too. I didn't actually watch the video until now, so
it's good though, pal. A little bit of smiling going on there, hey? For a second, almost. It's almost like you were enjoying yourself for a second.
I was having fun. I was.
Oh, nice try, buddy. Nice try. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to talk about the technical mistakes there. It's just great that you tried. Nice underhook, by the way. Nice dig. Oh, yeah. Nice try, buddy. Nice try.
They caught me.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Who cares?
Yeah.
So far, whatever the points are, I don't really care about that nonsense. You're doing all the right things. It's just a technical error is all.
Oh, yeah. This is the trick about jiu-jitsu too, right? Like, is any given day, somebody will come out on top. And
well, we can see who's on top right now.
Exactly.
Nice try. Nice try. What I'm definitely not going to do is talk about, well, you could have sat out there or you could have blah, blah. What? We're not going to do that.
No.
Let's just enjoy. It's a tricky one. Nice effort. Oh, yeah. It's got some grit in you, Chance Burles. Nice try.
Yeah. I really was hoping to get the lift and roll out of it.
Yeah. Hey, I dig it.
Still came out on top.
Man, that's solid. That's solid work. Forget about those nonsense points. I'm loving everything I'm seeing.
Oh, yeah. I was never really worried about the points. It's kind of funny being on my back. I was looking up at the ref, watching her do the points, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then, yeah, it was interesting. Oh, thanks, Dan. We got a couple of little tidbits.
Yeah, we sure could. I mean, we could do all kinds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to watch, the macro, the top down performance, the big picture. You're doing good, buddy. I dig it. Nice.
Yeah.
A little bit of that clock choke
That
action.
clock choke got me. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I obviously disappointed
Sure.
in my in not being able to finish the match. I felt I was very defensive right off the bat. I went to set out on my plan, and then my plan didn't work. And then I went to my secondary plan, and then that one didn't work. And then I was starting to make stuff up, and then I started defending right there, and I was just like, oh
Yeah.
no, 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 no. And then I was like,
Yeah.
and then I was just kind of trying to get back into a position of control and never got there. So
Yeah, but you know, I think yeah, I could see all of that. But I think what's super important is that you were never out of the fight,
no.
even though you're on your back foot.
Yeah.
And so to me, that fight was a win.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's Satch got going on here?
Satch got reality is this: in your jiu-jitsu career, you would be lucky to have a 50% win rate. Glad you got on the mats and got after and learned something. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
for
he
sure.
says, how often do you compete? Perhaps compete more. Yeah, I absolutely should compete more. This is my first competition in 3 years. My last one was when I was a 2-stripe white belt back in 19. And previous competition experience is like when I was 20-ish, something like that, 19 or 20. So I don't have a lot of tournament experience in general, but you know what? I came out of there. I did 100% give it. I just gave it.
You can see
I
that.
didn't leave anything on the mat, and then it was one of those. I felt the clock choke start to sink in, and I was like, there's an escape. Nope, I ain't got it. And then I was like, I was watching the doors close, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good.
What was that escape again that he talked
Exactly.
about on Tuesday night?
This is a trick when you start thinking.
Oh,
Is when
dude.
it starts
Yeah.
to go downhill, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's this, and then there's that, and then there's I'm behind, and
Right.
yeah, but it's good, man. And there were lots of things I could have used as like little excuses or little blurbs about.
Yeah. All excuses. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. They're all excuses. Like, whatever. End of the day,
whatever.
I went there, showed up, I went on the mats,
100%.
and I gave it. So
Yeah. You know, all of those excuses that you can make up, the one excuse that you can't use is that you didn't show up.
Yeah.
You freaking showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge chunk of society that their first excuse is, I just didn't show up.
Yeah, that's very true. Daniel says, constant learning. Every opponent is a whole different concept of approach. Yeah, that's 100% correct. I was expecting that first collar drag to work.
You can see it. I could see it in your eye.
Yeah. And it just didn't. And I was like, oh no. And
it went sideways pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the correction that you made was by the hair on the chinny chin.
Yeah.
I mean, you barely scooched your way out of that, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was nice kinetic movement.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by how quick he was. I figured that being in the
I saw it take you by surprise. How quick he was.
No, that's the thing. Like it's a heavier. I'm in the 220 plus category, so usually it's a little slower. It's a lot more back and forth. There's more push, more pull.
But you could see it in his build. I mean, before he even tap bumped, I kind of knew already what his deal was.
Yeah, yeah.
I tell you, you did when you started to go a little bit sideways there in the first 10 seconds when he speed corrected against your move.
Yeah,
you moved pretty good yourself, man, for a guy who's 12 feet tall.
Yeah, my coach and I have been working on this regularly. Is that we'll get into this because this is the topic I want to talk about.
Sure.
Because I was talking to my therapist yesterday before the collective, and she brought up a great point. But Satch has a question, so I'm going to put that up first. Satch, do you change your game plan based upon the person in front of you? And I didn't. My game plan was the game plan, and that's what I went with. Obviously we can see whether or not that worked. But what about yours, Shaun?
My game plan changes in the real time. So, like the moment that if I don't know who I'm facing, the moment that I see some movement on the horizon, if I think that, now that's the person that I'm facing, well, I start adjusting my game plan based on my feel. Yeah. And as I touch bump, Now my game plan just changed because it's a different energy. The
Yeah.
moment that we connect, okay, now it's a different energy. So, when as a blue belt, uh, maybe at about the point that you are in your BJJ career, we'll call it hobby or career or sport or industry or whatever.
Whatever.
At the point that you're in right now, that's the point when I kind of had some game plans. But I couldn't even spell game plan now. I don't even know. I'm just in the moment.
Yeah. And I would like to think that I was, but I wasn't. Thinking about the actual role as we went into it, I could hear the opponent's coach start barking out all the things that I was doing wrong. Like where my openings were, and I was just like, oh no. And I realized about, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds in that I was starting to listen for it. And I was starting to defend against it. And then I was like, but that's just opening up more. And then I wasn't really in the fight. I was just
the opposing coach is just Jedi mind tricked me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it was like
these are not your robots. You will be clock choked.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. There's not many people in my gym that can do that to me. And I think that's one of the reasons that's why I like to jump into tournaments anyway, is because it's a totally new environment. Like nobody there is somebody nobody knows me, and I don't know anybody. So yeah, it's a tough one. But so let's get into the topic that I had for today.
Okay.
Which I was talking to my therapist the other day, and she was asking me about the tournament and asking me about how I felt about it and the collective, and we kind of went all over the place. And I had mentioned that
you told collective me, her? did you tangent your own therapist?
I did. 100% I did. She's pretty good at it though. She catches me pretty fast and like, whoa, and brings me back to the point.
Sure. I mean, if you need to come back, I mean, do we though? Just as long as we're talking about cool stuff, whatever.
That's right. That's the important part. So what we were talking about though was the fact that you had mentioned to me that I have to be, or that I need to go into it in the right mindset of all in. And I realized after thinking about it, after you told me, I don't think I'd ever done that. And I was even thinking about it. I always had an out. I always gave myself an out.
Yeah, that's cool. I get it.
Even Afghanistan, I had an out because I was sent there.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like gives me a way to be like, oh well, I didn't complete what I wanted to complete because I held back a little bit.
Right. ...
Exactly.
Right.
And so I want to talk to you about it because
sure,
this makes sense. I know a lot of people that will hold back because they want an out. They want some sort of way to, I don't know, give them a
like protect themselves.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I mean, for sure. I can see it. I can see it happening. I can see it happening all around me. Man, I've done it myself. And until I changed my attitude, like kind of that all-in attitude, to your point, it is an interesting topic. I guess it's interesting enough when you say all in. What does that mean to a person, and etc. And of course, we talked about it in the live chat at the collective. And I had a local friend here who rarely, sends me a text or whatever. And he's a super cool dude. I'm not saying he rarely does because, we don't know each other. We do. And he's a good dude. And whenever we see each other, it's cool. But he sent me a text almost out of the blue saying, wow, man, I watched your All In podcast the other day. And in his words, what he was saying was, that was super freaking legit. And I loved it. And it all makes total sense. And so, if it makes sense to that dude, it's got to make sense to other people. And so, then if it all makes sense, then what's holding people back? Again, it's just that mindset. It's just like a freaking on-off switch. You just got to like believe it and blink your eyes 3 times and then it's real.
Yeah.
But it's a hard thing to commit to as a reality.
It really is. I find a lot of it, at least oh, wait, hold on a second. I got a comment here. that I wasn't being fully open, truthful to allow myself in allowing my barriers down during therapy and living fully through the present emotions, reactions. That's exactly it. Yep. It's really being all in. We know after we discussed it and I put some thought into it, it really, I always believed that the all in attitude was all in all the time. So whatever it is that you were all in on, that's what you needed to do all the time. So if you're going to be a painter, you should be painting 16 out of the 24 hours of the
Right.
day, right?
Right.
Like, and then after the discussion, we were, going over it, and I was like, the old saying, "Make hay when the sun shines."
Mm,
I always took as a reactionary thing. Oh, it's sunny out.
mm,
Okay, well now we make hay, but
right.
no, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So the sun is shining. Perfect. It's a great time to make hay. Let's make hay, right?
Yeah.
And then you are all in making hay in that moment.
Yeah, it just so happens that there's hay 24/7.
Exactly. There really is.
And then it goes down to, just as we were saying the other day, if you've got 10 things that you got to go all in on that day, then you go all in on 10 things. And at the end of the day, if you've only got 2% left in your energy bank, well, you give it what you can, and then it's time to go to bed. Then you wake
Yep.
up, and the next day you do your best, all in. And the idea of all in can be scary because, and this is kind of maybe important. And maybe I should have said this the other day when we were talking about all in. And it just popped into my head because, of course, talking about therapy
Hmm.
as an example. And so, there may be a time to kind of protect yourself, in the sense of, you can't go all in because you just ain't ready for having your hair set on fire. And now you're John Candy going down the highway looking at Steve Martin, and you're like, yeah, wah, wah, and your hair's on fire. You don't want to be that. And
Yeah.
so, I think we all had to learn at some point, certainly once you are either in the institution or you get out of the institution that we call the military, there's a point where you have to learn how to protect yourself. Because if you go all in, now your hair's on fire.
Hmm.
And so, maybe through by being institutionalized, we got institutionalized to protect ourselves from going all in. And
Yeah.
even as part of therapy, because it's like, it feels like, oh, it's so much. I've got to protect myself and I can't go all in. Well, maybe not at the start of therapy because your
Hmm.
hair would be on fire. But like if you're halfway through it, or you're towards the back end of it, or 3/4 through, or whatever, I don't care how you categorize it. But at some point, your hair doesn't get set on fire by going all in. And so now you're all in, and you're not like you're not on fire. And
Yeah.
so after you come out of that back end of that process, and you can look at life feeling, I feel pretty good about things. You should feel pretty comfortable with everything that's in front of you in the present, in the real time. You should be giving it your best, and it shouldn't feel like it's such a heavy lift.
Mm. You're absolutely right. The especially in therapy, because there's the concept of like dipping your toe in, right? When you the cold lake or whatever, or
Mhm.
you dip your toe in, and you can walk your way slowly into the water and slowly acclimatize, and you get there eventually. Um, and I know people that have also cannonballed off the cliff into the water, and
Yeah,
then
sure, and they may be okay, but then they also risk systemic hypothermia.
exactly,
And
yeah,
and now what's happening? Well, a couple of things. A, you might die,
yeah,
or B, you might be on your way to the hospital, or
yeah,
C, and here's actually a relevant point. Now there's 10 people involved in saving you
yeah.
because you closed your eyes, jumped off a cliff, and hoped, yeah, I think it'll be okay,
You
whatever.
should be fine.
Now there's a pile of resources that are looking after you because you just
Yep.
didn't give it much caution. And so
Yeah.
I think the important part would be that, consider who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, how you think that might look for you. And if you feel like you have to protect yourself a little bit as you're dipping your toe in the water, better to do that than have your hair on fire and 10 people running around you with fire extinguishers. So ease your way in if you feel that you have to. But once you've eased your way in, once you're comfortable in the cold lake, once you're comfortable cannonballing out there, well, now like go all in. See
Yeah.
how cannonball-ish you can cannonball.
Yeah. Like the once you know the depth of the lake, or because that's one of the big ones, is if you're, especially in therapy, and I've spoken to many guys who say, "Oh, I don't like talk therapy. It just doesn't work." And I was like, "Well, okay. How, like what happened? And they were like, I was completely honest right from the bat, right from the get-go. And you're like, I was like, okay, like
that was interesting.
I bet that was
Grab the fire extinguisher.
did the therapist go like this? Because we've all been through some interesting times. And it's never, I can't say never. It is a challenge to dump your entire life's worth of trauma and not know how to deal with it into the lap of a therapist, or cannonballing off into a cold lake where you can, when you have your hyperventilation reaction and you're underwater, is not a good thing.
Yeah, maybe that's not the right place to start, but there's always a place to start.
There's always a place to start.
There is, and by the way, no one even has to frame it in the sense of, oh man, in order to start doing better, I've got to be in a cold lake. Don't frame it in a negative light. You all in can be like, you know what? Today, instead of like just being a crusty jackass, I'm going to spend as much of the day as I can trying to smile.
Yep.
And if you only crack off a full minute spread out over 16 hours, well, congratulations. Now you're 1 minute happier. See what you can do tomorrow.
Yeah. And you know what? Those things add up over time, right? Those 1 minutes, they add up over time, and maybe you'll get 1 minute and 15 seconds tomorrow, and maybe you'll get 1 minute and 30 seconds the next day, and then maybe after that you might get 45 seconds. But then the next day you'll get 1 minute and 45 seconds.
It's not about, as I've said before, it's not about the day. It's not about the year. Look back 10 years from now and see how you made out. And you'll be pretty impressed with yourself. And, speaking of the title here, having an out, you know what the out is? The only out is the door that says do better.
Yeah.
And if you walk through that door enough, man, pretty soon you won't have to worry about being all in. It just happens.
I was going to say that the really, when you truly want to do better, the only out is I did my best. And if that's your 100% truth, you did your best. Okay, cool. Let's do it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day.
The trick is not putting anything in front of that. Do your best.
Exactly.
Like, do your best, except it's been over 3 years since I competed in a tournament. Or let's do your best, except, and again, we go back to that. We all make the excuses, right? We all put the self-doubt in place before we even do the thing.
Yep. Yeah, I was, interestingly enough, we got there really early. I was there at like noon my time, and my first fight was scheduled initially for 2:45, and then it got bumped to 3:40, 3:45, something like that. So I was there for quite some time. I had warmed up, I had done all my stuff, and I was sitting. And then they had the black belt championship, the Grand Prix. It was a $5,000 check. But that championship match was right before mine. So everything stopped, and everyone went and like watched this thing, which was really cool match to watch.
Yeah, sure.
The guy, what did he popped his knee out.
Oh yeah. And from what, like he did it himself, or the opponent did something to facilitate that pop?
It was kind of a mixture. He had his leg tied up in a really weird position. Then he went to get up, and as they both went up, everybody heard a.
Oh yeah.
And we were all like,
oh yeah.
Ooh, that, and they called.
Do you know the dude? Is he a local player or?
No, he's from somewhere else. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they went hard. Like the black belt matches were going throughout the day, and it was some really, really good matches there.
Right. Not tiddlywinks.
No, they went hard. Those guys were all
in that video. By the way, it looked like there was a decent crowd that was watching.
Yeah, there was. There's quite a chunk of people there, and that was just so. What you can see from this camera angle is, I'm going to put it back up so everybody can see. There we go. So I'm on mat 4, 5, and 6 are off to the left, and 3, 2, 1 are off to my right.
Right,
or off to the camera's right. But yeah, this was it was consistent.
I've got a question for you. If you go back and you're kind of target locked on what you want to do. If you track your Mark 1 eyeballs, it's pretty evident what you were thinking that you wanted. But instead of just doing a simple collar drag with your 9.5 foot long leg, Why didn't you just plant it right on his hip and use that to kind of lever him down instead of just a
Like
simple collar drag?
go for a card pull.
Yeah, well, no, not a guard pull per se, but get your foot, the instep of your foot, right up against his hip, lock it in, stretch him out, and then off balance him with that. I mean, dude, you're a tree.
I was aiming for the sase. If you look, I was aiming for his outside foot there.
Yeah.
Stepped over at the last second, but
yeah,
it was
came up nice though, man. You came up nice. You just duck dodged and dived a standing clock choke / guillotine / danger. Will Robinson.
Yeah, he had that guillotine in tight.
He did.
Once he got there, and then I had.
You're like a Mexican jumping bean at one point.
I threw that arm over, and I was like, okay, I can breathe. And then he tried to lift me, and I was like, oh well, if he does this again, I'm just gonna jump. And I was trying to get the layout, and I was then gonna roll him over, but he based hard when I came back down, and we just kind of like, huh, and my head popped out. I was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
Thank you for the chiropractic correction.
I will take that. Yeah, Daniel's got a question here. What is your opinion on the mental block and how it may affect someone / tricks in breaking that block? As an example, I had to evaluate from a 1 to 5 trauma, but brushed it off. Considered it normal, but if taking it in the view of a normal person, it was absolutely not, and on the high end. Oh, yes. I imagine you were doing the quality of life forms that you have to do for the VA, I imagine. I struggle with that quite a bit too, because when I did mine, I was reading it, and you know how it always asks you, are you capable of reaching the top shelf? And I'm like, yeah. and just like, of course I am. I'm 6'6", no problem. I can reach the top shelf. And I don't know if it really played into my mind. The whole concept written underneath that is on your worst day. And that's what you have to look at it as. And that one was hard. I actually had my wife do it. I was like, I can't tell the truth on this. Doesn't matter how many times I look at it, I'm not going to tell the truth. So can you do this for me? And she did. And turns out I can't do anything on my worst day. I'm like,
it sucks.
Bedridden. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does suck. But that is one of the things to eventually, over time, with practice, like being honest with yourself and being honest in those evaluations and being honest in those traumatic recovery systems. It's practice. You have to be, it's like dipping your toe in, right? You dip your toe in, then your foot, and then your ankle, and then your shin, and then your knee, and then you're walking into the water. He carries on here during EMDR therapy, level of how trauma is within the PTSD spectrum. I placed it low to nada, but after a few days, it was moderate to severe. Yeah. Same. I think I'm along the same line here, is that it takes practice to be able to recognize that, on a really bad day, those are really bad days. So, any thoughts on that, Shaun?
Well, if I can't speak for anyone else or everyone else, but I'll speak for myself. And it's simple as this. When those kind of questions were being asked of me, I felt like the guy from Monty Python, where it's at the bridge and I've just had both of my arms chopped off. And I'm running around saying, I'm not dead yet.
Just but a flesh wound. Cowards. Have at thee.
I've only got one leg and I'm hopping around saying it doesn't hurt. That's just kind of how I've always been. So, I don't want to say my normal is not everyone else's normal. But when I look at things that I consider as difficult or not difficult, my scale is different than most people's. So what I had to learn to do, just like when you go up to your company quartermaster and he says, how many grenades do you want? You do the math and then you add another 20%. Because you know how many you need, but you always need more. So that's what you do. And then when it comes to these kind of conversations, what I've had to do, at least initially, was consider the question and think, I better add another 20% to the score because my score is actually needs to be a 3 instead of a 0 or a 4 instead of a 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, things that I think aren't difficult actually are difficult. I just call them not difficult when in fact they are kind of difficult for me. So I had to learn a whole new language.
Yep. Yep. I did a speaking engagement at old college at one point in time, and I was like, if you ever have I was talking to a bunch of students, and I said, if you ever have veterans working for you and you need something done, tell them they can't do it.
Yes, indeed.
It'll get done, right? No question. That
Yes.
is just one of those things. If you say, is this possible? We will all go like this.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Yep, I'll get it done. And even if it only happens once, it'll get done.
Yeah. Oh, did you just say I can't cure my own PTSD? Did you just say that?
I
Oh,
might
now
have.
you're screwed because
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
it's on now. Yeah. Then you got to ask, what is curing
Yeah,
PTSD?
of
Because that's
course.
a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah, of course. I think we've talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, we indeed have. Yeah. Any other thoughts on having an out before we carry on?
Yeah, I think I think it's okay to have outs, positive outs, not
Mhm.
negative outs. And negative outs are excuses. So those
Yeah.
excuses there categorized as negative. But a positive out could be, well, I mean, I'm not going to give a bunch of positive examples. It could be everything from a kid's birthday to whatever. I mean, there's certain things that we'll call them outs that are righteous.
Mhm.
So having an out isn't always a negative, but if you want to get something done and it's important to you, you won't let outs stop you.
Yeah, I had about 1 million of them before the tournament started. Right? Like I could have, I'm not feeling great today. I'm kind of tired. I don't have a lot of energy. I'm in a
Welcome to
depressive
life.
episode. And like there's all of those just initially.
Yeah.
Right up
And by
like
the way, no one cares on the start line.
that's it. No one
Dude,
cares.
I don't care what color your gi is. Why are we here?
Yeah.
We ain't here it's not going to be a therapy session. It's a fight. And if you get any therapy in it, well, congratulations.
Bonus.
But we're here to scrap.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so no one cares about the excuses. No one cares about how much tape you've got on your wrist, your foot, your nose.
No.
It just doesn't matter. Excuses aren't accepted once it's go time.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. When it's go time, it is go time. And
Yeah.
you got to be able to turn it on. Like I spent the 3 some odd hours prior to the fight, with all of the things going on in my head of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then this is going to happen. And then that's going to happen. And ooh, look, a black belt. Oh, what's that? Oh, what are these guys over here? Oh, that's some brace training there. Oh, that guy missed that leg crawl. Like it's just
Yeah.
all of the stuff,
All up
right?
in it.
It's all just going. And then I tied on the colored belt and I bowed onto the mats and I just went, it's on.
You look pretty relaxed, man. I mean, you didn't look too tense. You looked like you were. I
I
mean,
felt pretty relaxed.
you look pretty good
Yeah.
for
Well, thank
sure.
you.
And stripping out, any of the minor technical glitches, which I'm sure there's a bunch of armchair quarterbacks that would just love to cherry pick all of the mistakes. It ain't
Oh, yeah.
about that. You look good, man, and you're in the fight, and things happened, and the outcome wasn't to your favor. So now let's actually talk about some meat and potatoes.
Okay.
What did you learn? And I'm not talking about how to defend a clock choke. What did you learn?
Well, this is actually something that my coach hit me with a couple of days ago on our last training event. Was I I give myself an out when I'm training,
Mm,
and he's like, you can't do that. You gotta
mm,
you gotta be in the fight the whole way through. And I
mm,
would so I wouldn't really be in the fight when up until today. I would
mm,
be we'd be rolling and I'd be going like, "Ooh, nice uh nice grip break" to my
mm,
opponent. And he'd be like, "No, you don't comment on someone else's stuff while you're rolling," right? I wasn't paying attention to me.
mm,
I was watching what everybody else was happening. And which
mm.
again also why you and I were talking and I said I usually wait to see
Yeah.
what happens
You're
and
observing the video game, not playing it.
exactly. And then because of that, I end up behind.
Mm.
And most of the time in my club, I know most people's moves, so I can climb my way back up.
Mm.
But he's like, you don't need to do that. And today I just went for it. I was like, I'm gonna get this collar drag. That didn't work. Okay, well, go for the Uchimata because I
Yeah,
got
you
the
were
underhook.
committing to things. That's right.
And that's all I was doing throughout the whole
And in
thing.
your
Was like
defenses, you're also committing. It wasn't like it was a gradual erosion of your defensive mindset. I mean, you were digging for
Yeah.
things. I noted your mindset was solid when you were in the stand up position and you were digging under for a nice deep underhook there
Mhm.
and et cetera, et cetera. And down on your hands and knees digging for that deep, long. It would have been his right leg as he was
Yeah.
up on top, and instead of sitting out. So there were things that you were constantly in the fight, and it didn't look like you were surrendering or giving up or anything. Even though maybe in your mind you were starting to feel like that, it wasn't obvious from an external observer's perspective, or at least I didn't see that. And so where I did see it go fully sideways for you is when you paused 2-3 on the clock choke and you started trying to think back to last Tuesday's session
Yeah.
instead of just responding, just making a choice.
Yeah. And that's definitely where it went sideways for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing that I learned for this match was that's cool. Go all out. And
you did. Yeah.
And that's where that's what I wanted to achieve. That was the big thing that I wanted to get through in my own skull, is that's fine. Because by leaving myself an out, I was only, as you would say, 90% dabbling.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't doing jujitsu. I was kind of doing jujitsu. I wasn't actually doing jujitsu. So that was the big one that I learned, was that it's okay. Doesn't matter what happens.
No,
it's the effort.
It's the intention, and you look good, man. Like I said, what I was watching it with two sets of eyes. So I was watching it from my experience coaching eyes or whatever the case is, but I was also looking at it as believe it or not, a 0-day bystander on the sidewalk, thinking, well, I could take care of Chance Burles. Dude, you look kind of scary on those mats. Like you're 27 feet tall. And like you would take the average person and flip flop them around like a salmon. I don't think anyone understands what they just watched.
Yeah, BJJ. I've heard, I think it was Jocko that said it's like a superpower, and it really is when you get to a certain level. There's even 6 months in versus somebody that's untrained. It is a vast difference.
Sure is.
Let alone I'm at 5 years, something like that. I've been training, so doing pretty well.
Did you feel the pressure of the moment? Did you feel the crowd? Did you feel your expectations not being met? Did you feel the pressure?
Not really.
No?
Not really.
Not even when you started to feel it going not your way?
No. I was in the fight enough that I really didn't. The only thing I could hear outside the fight that was going on was that coach.
Yeah.
And that, I think, threw my actual concentration off, because I was concentrating on what he was saying.
He Jedi mind tricked you for sure.
He totally did, 100%.
100%.
But I walked in there, and like there were nerves prior to when I first showed up, and my heart started, like, ooh, okay, I'm signing in, and now it's on.
Oh, it's getting real.
Yeah, and then when I went down to warm up, and I started doing some stuff, I'm like, okay, and like I could feel my heart rate coming up, and I was like, okay, cool. And I just breathed and calm, chill, relax. Went to do the weigh-in. Same thing, kind of heart rate kind of went up again. And every stage where you're like, oh, it's happening. And then
it does ease you into it.
And then when I got to the mats, no, I was just like, oh, it's on. And my whole thought was tap, bump, collar drag. That was it.
Yeah.
So, and then I just tried.
Well, better that than the standard issue. I was going to say white belt dance, but sometimes it's a brand new blue belt dance where you both grab onto each other and start turning circles.
Yeah. Yeah.
or don't even grab onto each other. Just start turning circles for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you
I
gotta dance
mean,
and like
yeah, it's the dance, man. But there was some tangoing going on within 10 seconds, so that was good.
yeah, I've been one thing actually that I just noticed, as you said, doing little circles, was the fact that I have been practicing that collar drag with more lateral movement,
Yeah,
and I did not use it.
yeah,
I
I could
just
see it,
went for it and
dude.
friggin'
I don't want to. I don't want to break it down all
hey,
technical. Like
I'm good with it. This is
there's ways to do things better, and that's all that
yeah,
matters. Because like it
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like in a week,
yeah.
you'll be the you'll be the master of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll
Yeah.
have you'll have made some corrections.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
And so you
yeah,
won't do that again. And so, like, who cares about the technical errors? It's so unimportant.
yeah,
It's more about what you learned. That's the
yeah,
stuff that's the gold.
and really the like I said, the big one was I'm capable of going all in and not thinking about the outcome because I really didn't think about the outcome
Right.
until I tapped because I could see the
Yeah. That's a super good place to be, man.
yeah, yeah.
It's good that you experience that.
It I don't get it. I haven't had it often. And this is what I was talking with my doc about was the fact that uh, throughout my life, that I very early in my life, uh, I was naive and open, and I would just kind of do stuff and be like, "Yeah,
Mm,
cool, awesome, yeah." And
mm.
then some traumatic things happened because of it. I have older an older brother and an older sister who were, I'm not going to say
Older.
sadistic, but they were older. Yeah.
And you were irritating.
And yeah, it was irritating. So there was due to
'Cause I
some
thought you started the sentence with they when it was really just
yeah, 100%. Um, and so what I noticed was after thinking about this with her was the fact that it was from those early years, I would never like 100% buy in.
mm,
I would always give myself like a little bit,
mm.
uh, you know, I can't even think of the word, but I also realized growing up that actually kind of helped because I was always the guy who was like, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Chance is so chill, and he's good with whatever," and I would be good with whatever to a degree, right?
Until it
So,
went sideways.
and then I'd be like, and that was where my out was I was always like, "Okay, well, yeah, sure, we can do that. You know what? That doesn't look very good. I'm gonna go that way."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I would
Hang on a sec.
always,
Your hair on fire is making my left shoulder uncomfortable. I'm out of here.
it's a little warm. I'm gonna leave. Um, but yeah, that's so throughout my life, I've never really put it on the line. And even
Mm.
like I said, even in Afghanistan, I was surrounded by people that were willing to take bullets for me
Yeah,
regardless,
that can do that. Yeah, yeah.
right? So I was all in there, but I was, mm, I'm trying to think of the actual terminology, but
Well, like protecting yourself to some degree.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't.
and you know what? That's a sign of a pretty smart dude,
Mm,
but only if you know that that's what you're doing.
yeah, and I didn't know that until just recently.
Right.
So hey, this is what you
But
learn.
now you're
This is what
smarter for it, 100%.
exactly.
Yeah,
I have a,
I love it.
I've taken quite a bit over the last couple days, and not like you said earlier with I'm gonna snatch head snap, front headlock, boom. Yeah, you're right. I should have gone for that. Actually, there was a point there where I thought about it. And I had a straight choke like hard when I was doing the ring the bell. I could have just, but whatever.
Yeah,
Besides
there's
the
a
point.
few things that could have been done.
Lots of things that could have been done. And then I just lost my point. What was I going to say? I don't remember. What was I just talking about?
Well, we are talking about Afghanistan and how you kind of were protecting yourself from, like exposing yourself to this, that, or whatever doesn't make you feel comfortable, etc.
Right, 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 right. So yeah, that's been a consistent thing. And as you were saying a few days back, you feel like you've gotten like a firmware update
Hmm.
from all of these chats, and
Hmm.
I'm in the same boat. I've
It's real,
learned
right?
it's so much about me, so much
Yeah.
about communicating, so much about listening, so much about all of it. Just putting it all together.
A couple of
It's been
days ago,
fascinating.
someone said to me how their observation was not about me; it was about you,
Oh,
and how much better you're doing this whole thing.
well,
I mean, and
I
you've got a
appreciate
few more moving parts, like you're doing your little Wizard of Oz thing.
It's not a whole lot of magic, just so you know.
It's
But yeah,
magic.
it's kind of funny because I was the moment every time you say that, the Wizard of Oz man behind the curtain kind of deal, I picture the scene from that where where he's running around like heaving levers and turning stuff on and like
The old school one.
old school one, yeah. And I was like, oh man. So I'm picturing myself very quietly underneath here, just like with my hand turning stuff.
all the levers are wooden.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the nice thing is that it's been this really nice evolution in that all of the trepidations that I had initially, all of the things of like, I wake up and I know I'm in a depressive mood, and now I'm like, oh man, I gotta do these things, and then I can hear your voice in the back of my head going, you gotta. And I was like, oh no, I get to. All right, okay, I get to. Yeah. And then I just like, okay. But each time I show up and I'm excited and I'm like,
yeah, dude,
let's do this. Like,
I don't even know what's going on in your little peanut right now. But if you aren't having fun right now, you're some sort of next level liar. Because all I ever see is showing up excited for it.
It's fun. I've never had the ability to talk to so many cool people,
right?
Consistently over and over, like
day after day.
It's crazy.
It's so good
that we even allow this.
Yeah,
like the fact that you can, and the fact that
we should have to pay for this. I should have to sign up for Sigma International and attend my own 3-day course.
Well, when you start getting the blue lighting, like me, then that you got to up your game a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like I'm kind of maxed out right now. I don't know what my next evolution will be. Maybe a jester hat.
A jester. Ooh, replacing the toque. I don't know if that would be
right.
a good plan, but hey, whatever. What can you do?
I'll tell you what it is doing. It's hiding my helmet head from just getting off the single track there just before we jumped into this live. It's a mess.
Yeah. That's why I have the high and tight, man. You never have to do anything with it. It's just, yeah.
I'll tell you who's got like the highest and tightest cut on the block right now. Any guesses? Tim Turner. Did you see him the other night? Last night? Oh, bro. Not. Dude. It is so high and tight. It is so Timmy. It is next level. I jumped on. He had a live chat going last night at 1900 hours.
I saw him doing it. I didn't actually watch it.
I had a few things on the go, and I jumped into it late, about 13 or 14 minutes into it. And it was a great chat. Loved listening to everything that he had on the go. But he'd opened up the live chat, and he was playing on a what do they call it? A soapbox guitar, I think it's called. And I'd missed that when I jumped in. He'd already done it. And then he started talking about it. I was like, what is even going on? So he pulled it out again. He started, dude, it was so great. He sounded awesome. Like, I was pumped for him, man. I'm not going to say he's Geddy Lee or anything like that haircut. But it was fun to watch him like kick it out. But he went to put the guitar down, and I thought, okay, I hope you didn't pay for that haircut.
Oh man, see, the funny thing is, I don't think you never got to experience the mega as a whole, right? And you never went to CFLRS, right? The whole okay. No. So there is the mega is a 11-floor concrete monstrosity that holds all of our basic training.
Oh yeah.
And the barber that's there, it's very much like you would see in the movies. Sometimes when I was there, it was this little Filipino lady, and she, like, you didn't even speak.
Right.
You just sat down, and they charged you $10 for the worst freaking
It was insulting. It was like, my first haircut on Camp Wainwright in the Canex at the back. I mean, like, I've never had worse service for a worse haircut and been insulted so much by some dude who kept hitting me in the left ear with his big old beer belly. I was like, what is even going on?
I can't get rid of the haircut now. I try to let it grow out a little bit, No,
I got no
can't.
problems with that.
It bugs me. As soon as the hair touches my ears, I'm like,
No. You,
no, just
yeah,
no.
but you probably didn't do enough James Bourne or Jason Bourne time. You know what I
I did
mean?
not. I did not do
There
any
you
of
go.
that.
That's
So
helpful.
yeah.
It's helpful to feel a little greasy. Speaking of greasy and haircuts, just before we went for our official first day, one of basic training haircut, the night before, some dude had shown up in my basic training platoon, infantry platoon, and he brought along a pair of clippers, and he thought that he was going to be crafty. And so it's the night before the first start line. And so he says, I'll give everyone a haircut. And we're all in a lineup. We're all in a line standing in this Quonset hut in Wainwright. And like, it's right out of Full Metal Jacket, man. And so I'm the next in line. And he's already like buzzed down 2 or 3 guys or whatever. And there's a guy sitting there in the chair. And he's got half a freaking haircut. And he had long hair, but half of it's gone. And it's like, "Wah," and all I hear is a door slam open. And I'm not going to let off the amount of swear words that were dropped by the duty NCO as he marched down with his pay stick yelling. It was Full Metal Jacket.
Yep.
And everyone stood up and like, I was literally next in line. And the dude who's got half a head of hair, he's standing there quaking. And the duty NCO comes down and he kicked that chair so hard, man. I wanted to be anywhere else but there. But all I could think was, well, at least I don't have half a head of hair right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it all got shut down. And then you know what happened. Now it's day 1, first minute. And there's the dude standing at attention with half a head of hair.
I can just see.
Yeah, that was a great start.
I can see the instructors holding back.
Oh, dude,
the laughter.
Oh, you know it.
To just like rip him a new one.
They would have been outside salivating like Pavlov's dog. Ding, heard a bell. I'm salivating.
Oh man, there's I think I actually got away with something like that on my basic was when I first showed up. My sister threw me a going away party the night before I left. And I drank a little bit.
It's happened in the past.
So I get on the plane, fly to Montreal. I fill up 3 puke bags on the way.
Oh, wow. Great start, Burles.
I thought I was really surreptitious too, right? So I had it in my jacket because it was January. So it's like super cold.
So Jason Bourne of you.
So I got it. I'm just like hurling into my jacket. And the lady beside me at one point just goes, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, cool. And like I let her go. She never came back.
Yeah, right. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
Right. So then I finally, we land. I get there. I'm like, okay, only a little bit longer. I'll actually be able to get to somewhere, right? And there's the sergeant, and he just starts jacking people up and getting everybody in line. And we all get up on the bus. And then, Montreal drivers.
Dude, did he not hit you with tallest on the right, shortest on the left, and single rank size, and then come straight over to you and eyeball you and like make you do burpees?
I got really lucky on that.
I was got lucky, all right.
I was one of the last people to roll up. So like I just kind of came in line and they were like on the bus. And I was like, okay.
That's not how I would have played that game.
So I get on the bus and the it's one of those double-decker buses. So you're like up above.
Yeah,
and it's a Montreal driver. So the whole way we're like,
oh no, you didn't.
I just sit there like, don't throw up. Don't throw up. Don't throw up.
Did you?
Just no, I didn't. I made it all the way to the mega and then ran out off the stairs and started hurling right into the front. Right. Did anyone see? Steps. They all grabbed their gear and went inside.
Oh wow.
This is where it gets. So I'm now by myself with my bags on the ground. The bus is gone.
Hopefully locked out.
I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So I grabbed my stuff.
That was apparent the day before.
So I walked inside. It wasn't locked. And I walked in and there was this huge French sergeant screaming at everybody in French.
All right.
Now I am way late, right? So I have no
Oh
idea
yeah,
what's happening. I don't know where I am. I barely know that this is supposed to be
dude,
the army.
you're like Jeff Spicoli late.
And I walk right up to him.
Oh, no, you
And I go, "Hey man, where am I supposed to go?"
hey man, I just puked. Where am I supposed to go, dude?
So he and I think the sheer audacity of it all just
Oh yeah,
stunned him.
he probably locked up.
Because he just went, officer? And I'm like, no. He goes, are you English? I'm like, yes. Go in that door. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
he didn't want your problem.
no. So I walked in there, and that was the entrance to my basic training. And I sat down, and I heard from like 3 rows behind me there. Then somebody was like, man, on the flight over here, there was this guy. He was throwing
Oh,
up the entire way. We could hear him on the other side of the plane. Like, and I was like, oh yeah, welcome to basic training. So yeah,
yeah,
these are the things. Basic training stories are just some of them are just amazing.
dude, we've all got him.
That's what that's what I like about it, is that we all have these stories, but they're they're only really applicable to some,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
for
got
sure.
you got to kind of know,
You got to kind of know.
but yeah, they're fun. So we're again just about an hour now, 56 minutes, man,
That was fun, buddy.
crushing it,
We talked about
crushing it.
something.
We
We
did,
learned something. We
we
had some
did,
fun.
we did,
I
we did
still
it
want my
all.
money back from some of those haircuts, that's for sure, from the Canex. But
Oh man, I can't believe they
just
made us pay for
barring
those.
that, I think it was pretty much a home run.
Well, yeah, maybe a ground rule double.
Fair enough, whatever that means.
It's when I'm not going to explain it to you because
Yeah,
it's
don't. It'd go
yeah,
right over my head.
uh,
No pun intended.
just like a ground rule double. Anyway, um, yeah, I think that's really all I got. I got some lay down time next. I'm gonna go chill out
Right.
and
Do you got anything lined
relax.
up for tomorrow, or are you working on that?
We got Yuri
Okay, good.
coming
Yeah.
tomorrow, so that we can
Some
finally go over
videos.
that video stuff with him.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
And that'll be tomorrow. And then I got some special stuff for the next few days.
It's always special, pal.
Eh.
Oh, speaking of special, maybe you haven't heard of me. I'm a big deal. I was just on a podcast that dropped this morning. You
I
might want to
did
check that
see
out.
something
Learn
like
some
that.
things. I'm big on the internet.
He's becoming famous. He is the
I,
Shaun Taylor.
I'll say this though. All kidding aside, it was kind of a good one, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that one, to be honest.
Yeah. Those snippets were pretty solid, so I'm looking forward to listening to it because it's
Zach did a good job.
Yeah.
He's a good host. He's thoughtful, man. Hey Zach, if you're listening, good job.
There you
But
go.
not too
Look at
good of
that.
a job.
You got
Do
a pat on
better
the
job.
back. You got a pat on the back
Got a
from the
half a
man.
pat.
Hey, random question. I
Uh,
just realized this. Why did you put is your last name is Taylor, right?
It is, yeah.
Why with the S on Instagram?
Because that's what Jason Bourne would do, man.
Jason Bourne? I don't know if that would
James Bonds. How
James
many are there?
Bonds? Yeah, and the funny thing is, in those particular movies, he always says his name like people are gonna know him, but he's a spy.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, right.
people shouldn't know him.
Right.
Why would you be the most famous spy in the world and just be like, yeah, no, it's all good. I got this.
So
right?
tongue in cheek, though. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is fun. All right. Well,
right,
we
buddy.
definitely learned. I know I've grown. I mean, got
At least 2 inches taller.
at least 2 inches tall. That's probably how I got this tall. Was I just keep learning?
You were
growing.
like so tall in that video.
The guy he was pretty little. What can you do? And the funny thing is, it's a 220 plus weight class. So
Yeah.
I figured there'd be more bigger guys, but
some meaty boys.
Yeah, there were the heavies, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we good show today. We got to learn. We built. We've definitely grown. I'm telling stories of basic training. Like, yeah, that's how you grow.
It is.
All right. Well, then we will see you all tomorrow with some more awesome stuff. Talk to you then. Chimo.
Ciao. Chimo.